Welcome back. Washington, D.C. is home to dozens of tax-exempt institutes, centers, and foundations which attempt to influence American public opinion and, by extension, the policies of the government in Washington. The Middle East Media Research Institute, or MEMRI, is one of those organizations, and chances are you may have seen some of its work. MEMRI monitors primarily Arabic language television broadcasts. Then it links to some video clips in particular and provides translations of them for you. The links lead viewers to anything from fiery Muslim clerics making controversial pronouncements to Palestinian cartoon characters attacking the state of Israel. And those video clips have been featured on just about every major news network in the United States. While MEMRI's stated goal of bridging the language gap sounds noble enough, critics say that its motives are anything but. The Listening Post's Jason Mojica now on an organization that's out to influence how the Middle East is seen in the rest of the world's media.
Since 1998, a Washington, D.C. based organization called MEMRI has been making a big impact on how the Middle East is perceived in Western media. You may not have heard of them, but chances are you know their work. You've seen it on CNN.
A man with what seems to be an American accent, training with a Taliban-style group in Somalia.
Fox.
A cleric and former diplomat at the Saudi embassy here in Washington says Mickey Mouse should be killed.
Sky.
Mickey Mouse is a soldier of Satan.
NBC.
The message to kids is very clear. America is the enemy.
And CBS.
Here's what he said on your state-controlled television.
You've even seen it on Comedy Central's The Daily Show.
Did that kid's show with the mouse, Par 4, that told children to martyr themselves and to kill Israelis and things?
MEMRI is a translation service, essentially. It sort of gives you the Middle East through the media of the Middle East. Television shows, debates, sometimes sermons in mosques.
They even monitor and translate criticism of their own organization.
جاء موقع MEMRI.net هذا موقع يهودي يقوم عليه ضابط موساد يرصد ما يقول حتى برنامج البينة هذا تبعك هذا برنامج مرصود وتؤخذ منه مقاطع تعرض.
Well, MEMRI is an organization that was established supposedly to bridge the gap of language between the Arab world and other countries and the West. If that's what it is, then this is a great service, but it's not, because in fact it's really involved in selective process. In my opinion, the name should be changed to selective memory.
هؤلاء يعانوا من حالة نفسية مضطربة لأنهم هم سارقون هم معتدون.
It cherry picks items from the Muslim and Arab world designed to make Muslims and Arabs look inherently violent and irrational. So they have every right to do this kind of thing, but I don't think anybody should be fooled that MEMRI is anything but what it is. It's really a propaganda machine for the most extreme wing of the Israeli political spectrum.
MEMRI's co-founder and president, Colonel Yigal Carmon, spent more than 20 years in Israeli intelligence. We only know this because when MEMRI's website launched in the late 90s, Carmon's military intelligence credentials were a prominent part of his bio. They've since been scrubbed from the site, along with the statement that MEMRI's research emphasizes the continuing relevance of Zionism to the Jewish people and to the state of Israel.
I know the founder and leader of MEMRI pretty well, Yigal Carmon. He's a very humane man, an erudite man, a cultured man, who knows a lot about the Middle East and cares a lot about the Middle East. He wants to bring the Middle East to light. He wants to let others in the world know what's going on, what's being said, what's being aired. Otherwise, we're in the dark.
For an organization that operates in the U.S. as a tax-exempt charity devoted to educating the public about the Middle East, MEMRI is not very interested in educating the public about its organization. We contacted MEMRI in hopes of speaking with Mr. Carmon. Neither he nor anyone else from MEMRI would agree to an interview.
The people involved with MEMRI are some of the infamous Islamophobes and pro-Israel extremists like Buck Gravel, Elliot Abrams, Stephen Emerson, all of these people, extremists in favor of any policy put forward by the State of Israel and anything that will make Islam and Muslims look inherently dangerous and irrational.
Although MEMRI occasionally posts video that highlights moderate voices and political reformers, these don't garner as much attention from mainstream media as the more colorful clips.
You're talking about fringe elements. Of course, you've got the Hamas station Al-Aqsa, and you have other stations which has established a major reputation like Al Jazeera, Al Arabiya. So you cannot put those stories coming from Al-Aqsa forward and say, this is a representation of the Arab world. It's not.
MEMRI has a very subtle but deep influence with media around the world. When they don't have any other access to translations, MEMRI is often the only source.
In the US, there is a major difference between CNN, Fox, MSNBC, and so on. But when it comes to a story or a clip fed to them by MEMRI, they all seem to jump on the bandwagon without questioning the source, without questioning the facts, without questioning the translation of the material.
Anti-Israel.
Well, it's had a big impact, certainly on journalists like me. It has made us smarter about the Middle East. It has allowed us to see and hear what Middle Eastern leaders are saying to their own people in their own tongues.
لا أتصور أن نستغرق أكثر من 11 يوما لمحو إسرائيل عن الوجود.
It's a little like somebody in Iran translating the American media into Farsi, but only selecting stories that have to do with domestic abuse. Would the translations be accurate? Would it really matter?
While MEMRI's video clips may not be representative, that does not mean they are unimportant.
Look, I have no problem of anyone showing any kind of egregious moments. I'm not saying that you don't have these kind of stories or they don't happen. I'm questioning the motives and the agenda.
We can't be sure what MEMRI's motives are, but given the fact that they have a member of staff devoted to liaising with the American government, it's clear that their agenda includes becoming a go-to source for Washington officials on the rhetoric of the Middle East, so long as their definition of Middle East doesn't include Israel.
MEMRI pays Middle Easterners the compliment of listening to what they say and taking what they say seriously. I'll often hear from Westerners, well, you know, the Arabs, the Iranians, and others in the Middle East, they're hot-headed, they're overheated, they're emotional, they're hyperbolic. You know, you really shouldn't listen to what they say. And this is a very condescending attitude, I think.
We can criticize MEMRI, but until somebody comes up with an alternative that offers a balanced and accurate portrayal of the Muslim world, you know, people are going to be stuck with MEMRI.